So, conflict de-escalation. I was teaching a major company that has a lot of red-blooded American patriots working for them. I was teaching them an active shooter course, how to respond to active shooters. And in the midst of this training, one of the students stood up. This guy was a scientist. So you got the yard workers and then like some of the scientists, the research and development guys. And he stood up and he said, now keep in mind, he's an Iranian refugee. Now, a lot of people don't understand how refugee status works. They just see the dude as being from Iran, which Iran's an enemy of the United States of America. But this guy is not, he's a refugee. He stands up and he says, why don't you guys just get rid of all your guns? I don't understand. It would solve all these active shooter problems. Now, as you can imagine, the dynamic in the room shifted really quickly. And you could literally see people's faces getting red looking at this guy. I mean, it was just like dead energy. They wanted this dude's head on a spigot. But I stopped for a moment. I took in the totality of the situation. Now, this shows the power of empathy with de-escalating conflict. This guy's from Iran. He doesn't understand American history and why guns are so important and imperative to American culture. How America fought for its own independence. Iran never had that opportunity. So by having a little bit of empathy, I was able to explain that to the group. And ultimately, they were able to understand where he was coming from, his perspective. Now, a couple of other things to take into consideration here are, I remained calm the entire time. I didn't get chaotic or nervous with my voice, with my demeanor. I maintained control of that classroom and that environment. Two is I demanded that everybody just stand tight and listen to what I had to say, because I could immediately see where he was coming from, given my global knowledge and my empathy for the dude. And then lastly, after utilizing that empathy, I explained it and I articulated it to everybody very clearly and very thoroughly. And I also explained to him as well why it is such a big deal for us to lose the right of our firearms in this nation. And quite honestly, he's an ally of the United States. Iranian refugee people in Iran don't like living there underneath a repressive regime. So after I had explained to him that we fought for our freedoms, that's why it's a constitutional right, and that Iranians didn't understand because they had never fought for their freedoms before because they don't have any freedoms, he understood why it was that we needed to maintain the Second Amendment here in the United States. So when it comes to conflict de-escalation, we're emotional creatures as humans. Information goes to the emotional center of the brain long before it reaches the logical part of the brain. Remember that. Take a step back, take an extra deep breath or two, and think to yourself, what is running through this person's head? And if you can't figure out what's running through that person's head, then I talk about the jigsaw method and a lot of other trainings that I do when it comes to conflict de-escalation. But first and foremost, keep yourself calm. Reframe it into a puzzle instead of a problem. That's where the jigsaw name comes from. And just try to have a little bit of empathy in that moment, or at least recognize the fact that you probably don't understand all things in their totality. And so there's probably something here that you could learn. And once you learn in that situation, that is when you can successfully de-escalate it. De-escalation is important in all areas of our life. I'm not just talking about in the workplace or in a potentially violent situation, but I'm talking about with other parents when you're going to the PTA meetings. I'm talking about with employees or organizations when you're talking with them on the phone in order to negotiate with them better deals on things. Being able to de-escalate conflict, which what is conflict anyways? We're really de-escalating the energy, the tensions. We're bringing people down, or really I should say we're elevating. We're not even de-escalating, we're elevating the intentions, because low vibrational frequency is where conflict arises. High vibrational frequency is that of positivity, love, and gratitude. And so knowing how to lower the likelihood of conflict in a discussion between two people, between yourself and somebody else, it plays a lot of benefits in many areas of life, not just in one or two areas.